Thank you so much. A small introduction from my side. So I'm Luís Gonçalves. I'm a Portuguese guy currently living in Germany. Some of the people that are in this room, they are my colleagues currently. Some of them were my colleagues before. And I want to kind of warn you, this is a provocative talk. I am quite provocative. I put all my Latino blood onto my presentations. So there is no kind of gray. It's black or white. And that's how I like to be. So, of course, in real life, nothing is black or white. Everything is on the gray area. But I like to be provocative on my talks. And, of course, after the talk, I have all the time in the world to spend some time with you outside and having some chats and discuss a bit more about the topic today. So the topic that I bring today is about agile mindset. And first, I would like to ask in this room, how many of you actually use performance appraisals on your work? How many of you actually have your goals and targets attached to your money at the end of the year? Oh, not that many. That's not. Sometimes it's more provocative, so there is not so many people. And how many of you actually do you think this practice is useful for your personal development and for the company in general? Okay, so I guess I got a lot of friends here. So first I want to start to define what performance review means, because I want to be on the same page with all of you, because performance reviews mean different things in different companies. So for the sake of this presentation, I define a performance appraisal as a mandatory process that is specific to some time where some or all of employees' work performance is judged or rated by someone else than the employee, and where the results are kept on the organization for most of the time legal purpose, or for sometimes they are not even legal, but they think that's legal, but we will go there later on. So now I want to drive you and take you a little bit into the past, exactly 1 century ago. So two gentlemen 100 years ago, their name Henry Ford and Mr. Taylor, they changed the gaming industry at that time. They completely changed the way how society produces goods for people. At that time, the society, as you know, as you can imagine, was really in a slow pace. Competition was not tough. Society was static. Requirements, customer requirements were easy to meet. You know, we were in this time where basically everyone could buy a 4, choose the color as long as the color was black. So, you know, a lot of diversity. It was not that difficult to meet customer requirements. The speed of what happened at that time was slow. The competition, like I said, it was slow. So there was space for high hierarchical organizations where basically managers could be on the top of everything, and they were considered the vision and the purpose gatekeepers, because basically they knew what's going on and what the company needed, and they just delegated stuff and tell people what to do. We were in the time where basically managers were able to get compliance by using punishments or extrinsic rewards. But you know what? Our society nowadays is a bit different than before. Our society, as you know, we all are in IT, and IT is an extremely complex world. We are in a society where customer requirements change every second week. Competition is popping up everywhere. Startups are popping up everywhere, which is really great. It's awesome what's going on around us. But the thing is, we need to change the way how we act. The old school, the old way of having a manager deciding everything does not work anymore. We need to have a way to delegate everything to the frontline people in order them to decide whatever they need. We need to delegate the power of these guys, of our workers, to satisfy the customers. The society completely changed. Today, people, as you know, they don't rely on punishment. They don't rely on intrinsic motivation. They rely on intrinsic motivation, which is a completely different way, right? But we still manage our companies like Henry Ford and Taylor managed them 100 years ago, or at least most of us, or most of our managers do it. So let's do a bit research about what happened actually when we apply this kind of management and specifically performance appraisal systems on today's society. Actually, 90% of performance review systems fail. They do not work. I can give you all the sources. This is proven and proven and proven. 95% of HR people say the performance appraisal systems suck. They do not work. So I ask you guys an honest question. If you are in IT, if you are part of a product, and 95% of your customers say your products suck, are you still going to do the same? I don't think so, right? So why we still do this kind of practice? The reason is quite simple. The reason is performance appraisals were created to solve a bunch of different topics, a bunch of different problems. And currently, right now, companies do not know how to detach all these big problems because performance appraisals work to solve a whole. They have many different purposes, and you cannot detach all of them. One of them, they think that performance appraisals are used for continuous improvement of the company. Already this gentleman, Edward Deming, 70 years ago, again 70, on the Second World War when he ran to Japan, so in case you don't know, Deming was the guy who was kicked out from USA after the Second World War, and is one of the responsibles to ramp up the Japanese industry and made what Japanese people are today. He was one of the guys actually building Toyota manufacturing system together with Toyota guys. So this gentleman, 70 years ago already, was saying, give a target to a manager, he'll do anything to achieve it, even if he needs to destroy the company. So it's pretty clear, but let's come back to that later. So continuous improvement for the company. That's one purpose why performance appraisals exist. Feedback. People say that we need performance appraisal for feedback. We cannot get rid of performance appraisals. Yeah, it's okay. We need it for feedback. But the way how we do it today, we have feedback every 6 months, or even worse, every year. It's quite useful to your manager have a chat with you. You remember 12 months ago when you did that mistake. Yeah, you don't even remember what you had last week on the breakfast. But yeah, he still wants you to remember what happened 12 months ago. So it's completely useful. Feedback needs to be given on the right time. Coaching, personal coaching. This is one that I really like. Managers think, not just managers, think that our responsibility is a coach. We need to have performance appraisals because we need to have a way to coach people. That's true, but put one thing in your head. You can be very good in one thing. You cannot be very good in many things. And your guys that report to you, most of the time, they need to do a lot of different things on the daily activities. They cannot rely just on you. So coaching is good, but performance appraisal for a coaching tool, sorry guys, does not work. Money, right? We need performance appraisals for the money. We need to define how much guys get, how good it is, so that you can define the percentage of the salary. As we will explain later on, does not work. You cannot detach individual performance from the system. We'll go there later on. Promotion, that's a good one. Everyone thinks that we need to rate good guys so that in the future we can promote a guy. How many developers you know they are great developers and become crappy project managers? As you see, it does not really work at all. So we should use completely different things. Legal purpose. A lot of companies say that we need to have performance reviews in case we want to fire, we can have it. I don't know many countries in the world where they actually require this kind of documentation. And I'm talking about legal country documentation. I'm not talking about HR, because HR can ask whatever they want, but if it's not legal on the country, it does not count. If you really want to change a company to the right direction, Just make sure that's illegal on the country, not on the HR. So that's what I said. Basically, there's a huge amount of things for what performance appraisals are used, and now we cannot detach them. So we continue doing it over and over again, right? So I will explain more in detail what we can do actually later on this presentation. So I will come back soon to this topic. First, I want to explain why performance appraisals do not work at all and why they do not make any sense at all. So for that, I have something to tell you about it. So some years ago in US, there was a company, manufacturing company, that basically was considered at that time the worst company in whole US. Not kidding, the whole company. There was, as you can see, 20% of people every single day, they stayed at home, they were sick, they were drunk, they were drugged, whatever you want to think about. It was the worst company ever. Until one day, General Motors and Toyota came together and they made a partnership. Now, actually, they hired, as you can see, 85% of the same people. The exactly same people, they were staying at home, drunk, drugged, and sick. And as you can see, they did. They sent 600 people to Japan to get the Toyota production system, for 400 trainers coming back from Japan to US. Then, you see, in 1 year, one simple year, those guys become the best company in all USA. What I mean, what I want to say with this is, please think about when you go back to their office and think, oh, this guy sucks. No, my friends, the system sucks. Do not punish people. Punish the process that you have on your company. This is the perfect example that people that perform badly can do much more. You just need to be the right guy and improve the system. What I mean with this is, we all work in highly complex systems. We cannot detach individual performance from the influence of the system. We cannot simply measure individual performance. Every time you want to measure performance from an employee, think about how you measure your own performance. And then we can start talking about, because I'm pretty sure you don't have any clue to measure your own performance. So how the heck can you measure your performance of your employees? And this picture actually is from a book that I really loved, Abolish Performance Appraisals, where basically they explain that there are 96% of the people that are driven by the system performance. There are 2% of the people that have unacceptable behavior. So this means that only 2% of all the people in our companies are not that great. And most of the time when they are not that great, most probably is because they are not on the right jobs. So it's not their own fault. Most of us work in IT. Most of us have high degrees education. So come on, if we were smart enough to take an education at university, we cannot be that stupid. Most probably we are on the wrong business, on the wrong job. Think about it. And only 2% of people are outstanding performance. Only 2% of the people are really genius that can do anything and can accomplish anything. So really think about that when you start to rate people and evaluate people next time you have a performance appraisal. So let's stop a bit and let's see another angle. Performance appraisal, a lot of them, we have this grading system from 1 to 5, where you just rate people, let you know, do you know what? Does not work. Because, for example, we suffer as humans something that we call stereotype tendencies. How many of you actually feel comfortable or put immediately a tag on the front head of someone, oh, this guy is a nerd, oh, this guy is this guy is that? I can guarantee you, you as a human will not resist to this. You as a human immediately put a tag, and you will create quite good connections with people that you like. As well, continuation, how many of you like the person that come in the morning and give the coffee to the boss, so to create a really good relationship with the boss? How many of them that go out for a beer and create good relationship? So be careful with that. And this is the most shocking one, but still it happens. We as humans, we identify ourselves with our peers, with the same country, the same culture. You know, I'm foreigner. I left Finland 10 years ago, but I'm still struggling. Every time I'm going, Portugal is the only place where I really feel home, because it's where people are really behaving the way that I connect. And it's the same in the work. So you always get more connection with the ones that you really identify yourself. And guys, we cannot avoid this. This is purely human behavior. There is nothing that you can do about it. This is what separates us from animals. So we cannot lose it, and we do not want to lose it. But you know what? The worst is still to come, because I only explained until now why they do not work. Now I'm going to explain how actually this performance appraisal thingy destroys our company. So, for example, the whole thing of improving individual performance actually destroys the whole company. So I want to, when I was writing my first book, I got to know a really nice guy, a Swedish guy. He started XP programming on the 90s. So the reason why he started XP programming was because their company was struggling with quality problems. So they were delivering a lot of bugs and a lot of issues. So they decided we need to do something about it. So let's improve the quality of the company and the product. So they started to do XP. They went through the experience. The experience was awesome. Quality highly increased. Customer happy. Everything was great. People motivated. They started saying, oh, this is really great. But you know what? When the financial result came, they lost money. They really started to lose money. And people start wondering, how the heck can it happen? Because everything is great. Quality is great. Motivation is great. You know what? They were a service company. So they were charging bug fixing. After the moment that they became really good in software development, there was no more bug fixing. They started to lose money. This is a great example how improve the small parts of the organization sometimes can screw up the whole organization. So be careful with that. Why performance appraisals destroy innovation in our companies? Really simple. Most of you, or not here, but most of companies, we have bonus attached to our performance. So you, as a human being, you do not want to risk your bonus. So if you want to go from A to C, and you know that route will lead you there, you just go there. But we all know innovation happens when we fail. If we do not fail, we do not learn. If we do not learn, we don't do anything. We do not innovate. And after the moment that you have bonus attached to your performance, you are starting little by little to kill the whole innovation and the whole learning of your company. Another way how performance appraisals destroy companies, simple. They basically destroy continuous improvement efforts. How many of you, especially the QA departments, have bonus attached? Improve the quality of this product, improve the quality of that product, and you get money to do that. Try to go to the experience of start to not get money and start to have a normal job without money, without have your boss, after you're getting money, start to have your boss to ask you to improve this or that. People will start to not care. I got an email a couple of weeks ago when I was writing the book, and basically the person said, I do not agree with you that money is not good. Because money is really good to reward. And the proof is we had a lot of bonus for continuous improvement programs in our companies. And now that the management changed and we don't have any bonus, the quality is decreasing because no one cares with quality. And I was just smiled. Thank you so much. It's a great example for my book. And this is exactly what I was saying. This basically the money destroyed the continuous improvement of that company. How many of you, and I know that there are some of you here in the room, how many of you were expecting for a bonus at the end of the year? You were already buying putting some money to buy a swimming pool, new car, and then surprise, surprise, your goals were not met and you did not get the bonus. And you start thinking, what the heck did I do wrong? Because I do not get my bonus anymore. And then you start to have that really, really ugly, punished feeling that you did something wrong. But again, it was not you. It was the system around you that provoked your performance to not be met. So really be careful with that. One that I really like is this one. Managers tend to come to us and say, oh, I want you to improve 10% the velocity. I want you to increase 10% the detection, the bug detection. I want you to increase 10% of this and this. So basically what I'm showing here, it's a number of velocity, a number of stories during several sprints. This is a real case, doesn't matter which company I was working before. And basically what I did, I draw the velocity through the time, and then as you can see, there is the average, and then there is the standard deviation. And with the standard deviation, you actually can calculate the interval with around 90–95% of accuracy. And you know that, for example, this team will never deliver with 95% of accuracy. They will never deliver 25 stories. But they will never go below 5. But you really need to understand system thinking. You need to know what's going on around in your system. How many managers actually stop to identify what's going on in your company, on your team, and really actually take the time to investigate this? So if you have a manager that tell you, next week you need to have 20 stories, what will happen? They will fail, or even worse, which is the most common thing, they will break stories into really small pieces, and they will deliver 25. Manager will be happy, but basically was cheated. And the same if it's in the middle of the system. If the bonus is on the 14, sometimes they will achieve it, sometimes they will not achieve it. So defining these kind of things without knowing anything what's going on the system in the company is just drives your motivation away from yourself. Drives fear. Of course it drives fear, right? How many of you go to the performance appraisal meeting with your boss every 6 months or every 12 months and you start to shake because it's again me against him and you need to defend yourself? It's not good. I was there several times and I know the feeling, you know the feeling. And you put people fighting with each other, especially when you have individual goals. It does not matter what the heck the team needs to achieve. It matters how you need to achieve your goal in order to get your money. That's what counts. So I put this small table here for you guys, so I will leave for 5–10 seconds if you want to take a picture, because this is a summary of what I was talking. And it's really, really interesting how actually all these things are connected. And this is, again, is from the book of Tom Cohns and Mary Jenkins. Okay, so where should we go now? What should we do? Okay, bad news. There is no magic potion. We need to try out, we need to experiment. But the first thing we need to do is shut down performance appraisals from our companies. And for everyone that is out there thinking that I'm crazy, we cannot do that. Just let me know, let me tell you that right now I'm discussing with the senior vice president of Adobe a possible interview because Adobe shut down their performance appraisals. And they are not a startup, as you know. They are a huge monster company. So if those guys can do that, anyone can do that. So shut down the performance appraisals. Don't think, what should we do instead? Anything is better or nothing is better than performance appraisals. Then you can figure out your way to go there. But shut it down and put, all of you are in agile environment, but really live the agile mindset. Start with safe experiments, start to try out, learn, do PDCA cycles, and learn with that and try out again and again. So what can you do? Now I'm coming back and to explain all these points, how or why performance appraisals do not disappear from the companies, and now I'm going to guide you. What can we do, for example, to help the continuous improvement of the company? That's not that difficult, actually. The first thing you need is to have a strong vision. You need to know where to go. Yesterday, I gave a workshop in this building about vision and values and so on. People were there. They immediately found out it's not that easy to define a vision. It's extremely hard. But that's the thing that you need to do. Not you, but your management. And you, of course, you can define the vision for your own team. Define a vision, do small increments, make the goals visible to everyone. And there is one really good thing that you can do to try out. It's called target conditions. So this is coming from Toyota, for example. Their way of improving is called Toyota Kata, which is meaning it's their coaching way. As a summary, more or less, to relate to this slide, they have the vision and they define target conditions. Small steps in order to move the company towards the big vision. And as soon as they achieve the small target, they define a new target themselves. But be careful, they do not attach their money or their performance. It's always a learning experience, and always people are trust that they can do their best. Feedback, that's something that I was saying. We all, or most of us, work already in agile environments. We have already this. We have dailies, we have the stand-ups, we have retrospectives. It's fantastic ways to provide feedback to everyone. And what we need to do, scale it. I'm currently trying to do it on my current company, Knowledge Check, trying to scale retrospectives to the different levels, talking with C-level, middle management, that we can get together every week and see how the company is going and what we can do. And all together we can try to work out a way to get better and better and better. One good thing that people think that feedback is just about people. It's not about people. You, on the agile environment, you have really fantastic things like information radiators, dashboards, build status, test coverage, all of that. Burn down charts, burn up, program burn ups, all of that is information, is feedback mechanisms coming directly from the way how you work that can help you to get better and better. Coaching. There are so many things that you can do to actually help people around you. You can do dojos coding, you can do continuous COP, community of practice. You can do one-to-one coaching with people, mentoring programs. There are so many things that you can do. You don't need a manager every 6 months to help you with this, not at all. Compensation, okay, this is an interesting one. People sometimes think that we need to rate, but as I explained already, you cannot rate, you cannot detach individual people in performance from the system. So what you need to decide as a company, you need to decide where you want to be. You want to be a Google where you pay a hell of a lot of money, or you want to be somewhere else where you pay less. Define where you want to be, define on kind of on the market position where you want to be, and go for it. Make salaries transparent. I know in Germany it might be a bit tricky, but for example, in other countries, I lived in Finland, for example. In Finland, you can send an SMS to the tax office with the name of a person, and you get an SMS back with the salary that the person gets. So it's a bit different than Germany, I know, but yes, when I was there, I was sending SMS to see how much the CEO of my previous company was getting. Interesting stuff. So you can do a lot of stuff, and then basically, you just need to think about, you need to think the inflection, for example, and that add a percentage on top of the inflection. And this, I want to be clear. So I talked about these 2% of people that are outstanding people, and you will be able to identify those guys. You don't need performance appraisals. Those are the guys that jump always on the problems. They always solve the problems. You know those guys on the company. You don't need performance appraisals. And then here, you can give an extra percentage on top of it. There's dozens of ways to do it. Jürgen Appelo wrote a full chapter on his new book about this, how you can do it. Promotion. We always try to attach our previous performance to the new position that we have. Like I explained before, no sense. Because basically, great developers, they do not become great project managers. They might be, but the mindset is completely different. So why do we need to go back to the history and check how well the guy developed C++ when we are looking for a head of software development where their job and their role is completely different? We should start this process from the scratch. We should do a normal process interview. We can get out, and get good people, good companies specialized on that. And there is a company that I know that basically no one can be promoted if the peers do not approve. If the peers say, this guy is not good, you will not be a good manager, that guy does not have a chance and you will not go up. Legal documentation, like I said before, most of the countries, they do not require this at all. And if they do not require, do that just in cases, for example, in Germany, as you know, you have this 6-month trial period. Most probably you need to do in some official letter, some of the companies proving the guy is okay, he can stay in the company. But most of the time, emails, customer feedback, clients feedback, it's so easy to get, and written emails, you can get all of this stuff, and this can be used as a proof. You don't need to go through all HR process to get this. So I'm really serious about this. I'm not really coming to the conference and say all this stuff and go home. I'm really trying to do something. I really, really have a dream, and I really want you to help me on this journey, because I want you, and this is special for you guys. I would like to have Portugal there, but you know, their performance was so great that I could not put it. I want you to be part of this dream, and I want you to help me to do together, to do a movement. I'm writing a book about it. I'm getting really nice people on board. Esther Derby, Jürgen Larsen, Diana Larsen, Jürgen Appel, Diana Larsen, many other nice people there. They already agreed to join this idea of my book. And I really want to help companies, or actually, I do not want to help companies. I want to help people. That's the important part. But I want to help managers to help their people to create environments where they can actually come to work and they want to do a difference. They want to have a purpose. They have a space to actually practice and become masters on what they do, and not just puppets like most of the people feel on today. And all of this because what everyone asks is a simply chance to work with pride. Thank you very much. So now I'm here for questions. Bring the tomatoes, the carrots, the vegetables, the eggs. Any questions?
Would colleagues feel treated unfair if new colleagues are hired who have a comparable skill and experience, but would be paid with a higher salary because the market situation currently is that way?
Within the same company.
Within the same company?
Definitely, they will not be happy with it. There's a really interesting study with monkeys, and you might laugh, but is a study related to primates, where basically you have two monkeys next to each other, and you give a task to both monkeys. And to one monkey, you give a grape. To the other one, you give a, what's the name in English? Cucumber. Okay, so for a monkey, cucumber sucks. Grape is much more tasty. And the thing what happened is, the other one sees the colleague getting the grape, and as soon as you give the cucumber to the next one, you will just throw the cucumber against the face of the person. And that will repeat and repeat and repeat. And this is to prove that they recognize unfairness, and they do not accept unfairness, and they reject any price. And that's exactly what happens in the companies. So that's why it's so important to have, for example, transparent salaries to make sure that everyone that's on the same grade gets the same salary, and everyone feels confident that they are getting exactly what a colleague is getting. But of course, in the market, you cannot do anything about it, but you have it already. You are in your company, and I'm pretty sure your company is not without knowing your company, I'm pretty sure there is companies that pay more than your company, and you know about it. But the why you stick to your company is because your colleagues, your environment, whatever. But this is your choice. But inside of your company, if you have your colleagues with the same amount of experience, getting the same, you are pretty fine. If you are not happy with the salary, you quit, and you go to another company.
Okay, thank you. Second question, what would be your recommendation how to start in a company which currently uses such appraisals? Would you start with new employees, or would you say to every employee you have the chance to change to a new system, or would you change the company?
That's depending a lot on the context of the company, right? But you can go crazy like Adobe, which you can just, the order came from senior vice president, say we will shut down. Or, I don't know, you can do safe experiments, like I said, with Agile, where basically you can try out with a department, with an organization, whatever. But this is something that you would need to see and better than me, you know the culture of your company and you know what you could do or not. This is something highly dependent on the content or the context of the company.
Yeah, thanks from me for your presentation as well. What I would like to know is, how do you maintain personal responsibility if you take the performance appraisal out of the equation? How do you make sure that people really know what are they responsible for, and that they really make sure that they don't forget it in their day-to-day work?
So how do developers know what they need to do during the sprint?
The CTO tells them, I hope.
Yeah, but you know, right? You have sprint goals every 2 weeks. You know exactly what you need to do. If you start scaling that experiment to a higher level and start to coach your organization where you have, first of all, you need to have a vision. Otherwise, you don't need to have goals because you don't know where you need to go. You have a vision, you have a purpose. And then if you are working in teams, they need to have their vision and their goals. And then they can get together every 2 weeks like a sprint, like agile development. And this is why I mentioned agile development. We are ahead of most of the industry out there. We are already doing a lot of the cool stuff that other industries don't even realize. Last week I was talking in a company where people, oh, maybe we should stop every month to think about it. And I was just thinking about agile retrospective every 2 weeks. It's what we do already. So you are already doing that. Developers stop every 2 weeks. They have a sprint goal, and everyone knows what they need to do. You don't need to have your manager touching your performance to do whatever you need to do. You need to test, or you need to do whatever. So you know it already. You don't need these kind of things to drive you.
Okay, thanks.
Any more questions? Okay.
My name is Martin, thank you too. What do you personally think, what is the perspective of time when transparency in salaries can go further?
That's a damn good question.
You talked about Norway, Finland?
Finland.
We're here in the middle of Europe, north to south. What's
I
your
don't even know if
feeling?
I don't even know if you can do it because in Germany, because I'm not even sure if the law allows it, to be honest with you. But if I understood your question is how long it would take to make the salaries transparent, or?
Salaries and also what people do and what for responsibilities they have.
But that should be already transparent to everyone, I would say. If you don't have this transparent, then you
have it. You bring the responsibilities with the salaries and with all the context together, yeah? To bring it more transparent.
So I'm not sure if I understand your question.
So the salary alone is just one number, yeah? It's a simple number.
Yes.
And you have to get it in context with what is he doing and what is the market doing, and to make it clear.
Yeah, that's why I said that basically, for example, for software developers, you have a price of a market, right? And then you as a company to define where you want to be on the market. Do you want to be on a high level, you want to be on the low level, but you provide a fantastic environment where people want to work, and then you start from there. And then basically, if you bring the transparency of the salary, then you can start to adjust and make it attached to where you want to be as a company. And then different companies have different roles, and then different roles for the different parts of the market, and then you can start to make transparency of everything, and then you have the clearest to attach the salaries to the role and make it transparent. Was I able to reply? We can grab a coffee and then we can have another chat.
Any more questions?
Just a question about, in your experience, you said performance appraisals has multiple needs currently, like goals, feedback, compensation, etc. What is your experience within the companies you saw, where to start with? Is there a recommendation where's the easiest way to start with to change the mindset about?
The experience that I have, first of all, you need to start with C-level.
What?
You need to put the C-level on board.
Ah, yes. Okay.
If you don't have the C-level on board, forget it. Because they are the ones having the power to do something so drastic like this one.
Well, exactly. That's a good thing to start with, C-level.
But I would start with really small experiments, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So currently I'm having a discussion in my current company with my boss if we cannot actually do that. Start with small experiments in some part of the organization, get rid of the bonus, get rid of all that stuff, and start slowly. So it's a discussion that I'm having right now. Anything else? Oh, I guess, Stefan, I guess we have a question.
Yeah.
It's all very general, it doesn't work, it does not work, and so on and so on. But what is really the essential?
It's not that general. I can give you a concrete example how does it destroys. I work in a company where basically they were forced to do MVP or they would go out of the market. And basically the MVP was not out because the product manager had goals attached to their KPIs. And most of the KPIs basically were not part of the MVP. And they were not able to do MVP because they wanted to get their money. And the company was sold because they could not go live and the company was shut down. So it's not fluffy stuff, it's really concrete stuff that destroys. Not the previous company, 2 companies ago, I needed to quit my company because my relationship with my boss was so bad that I need to quit the company. So it's not fluffy, it's really, really concrete. But people most of the times that just think there is no other solution, we need to stick to it. But that's not true. There are solutions out there, and Adobe just did it. So we can do it.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you very much, guys. If you have any questions, I'm there, and you can ask whatever you want. Thank you.